Hi, everyone. I'm Heather O'Reilly, former professional soccer player and former Tar Heel. I played here from 2003 to 2006, and I'm now currently the assistant coach with the women's soccer team here at Carolina. I've had a long international career playing with the U.S. national team, and I competed and won 3 Olympic gold medals and a World Cup in 2015. And I'm so thrilled to be back here in Chapel Hill. This place is really very special to me, has become home to me throughout the years. Even though I, traveled the globe to play professional soccer, there's something special about this place and these fields and these classrooms. And I think most importantly, these people that allow me to live my absolute best life. And I lived my dream here as a student athlete, and I'm happy to be here with other student athletes today, talking about their journey as female athletes in particular, as we celebrate National Women and Girls in Sports Day. So, to the main event, we are here to have a little bit of a chat with some of your current former athletes. We have women that span all different sports, have come from different countries to be here in Chapel Hill. So I will let them introduce themselves to you guys. And Allie, why don't you start us off with the introductions? Give us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll dig in a little bit deeper with some questions.
Hi, everyone. I'm Allie Mastriani. I'm a midfielder on the women's lacrosse team. I'm a senior here at UNC in the Media and Journalism School, with a double major in public relations, advertising, and communications. And I am from Martinsville, New Jersey.
Jersey girl, Allie. I am also from New Jersey, so I'm glad that we stick together. You can take the girl out of New Jersey, but you can't take New Jersey out of the girl. I hope that you remember that. Well, thanks, Allie, and thanks for being on and for sharing with the listeners a little bit about your journey and how you've grown and really become better because of the sports that you get to play. Okay, let's go to Brianna. Let's have your introduction of yourself. I know it always is weird to introduce yourself, but sometimes it's fun. So give us your best shot.
Hi, I'm Brianna Romney. I swim on the UNC swim and dive team. I am from Hampton, Virginia, and I plan on majoring in biology.
Very cool. Okay, I'm going to be digging in a little bit deeper into your story, so I'll let you keep it short for now. Ava, why don't you give us your best introduction?
I'm Ava Smolenaars. I'm from the Netherlands, Weert. I'm on the UNC field hockey team as a midfielder, and I'm also a senior in the Media and Journalism School, majoring in PR and advertisement.
Amazing. Oh, you may have traveled the farthest to be here today, so thank you for that. It's so wonderful to have all of you guys. And Jill, finish us up with your introduction and let the listeners know a little bit about your story, because it is pretty incredible.
Yeah, my name's Jill Shippey. I'm on the track and field team. I'm a thrower. Don't do too much of the running, but we like to throw heavy things. So I am a senior. I am majoring in sport administration, and I'm from Clifton Park, New York.
Very cool. Very cool, girls. Well, thank you all for being here. Real rock stars here at Carolina. Although we have so many, extraordinary female athletes to choose from, you four really sort of stand out to us with your journeys and also your ability to impact those that are coming behind us, because that's, of course, one of our big opportunities as professional and collegiate athletes is to make open up avenues for all those kind of coming behind us. So let's start off with the first question. And I just want to hear, maybe besides the sport that you currently play, what other sports did you grow up playing? Did you play other sports? And why were they important to you? And do you actually see them actually helping you now in the sport that you do? Brianna, why don't you start us off?
Great. I did gymnastics at one point, very young. I'm definitely not as flexible as I used to be. I definitely wish I was, but it was definitely so much fun. I did soccer as well. And those, I feel like, were very interesting and definitely have helped me. Soccer being such a team sport was extremely cool and has definitely helped me in in swimming, because swimming is definitely a team sport, but is very focused individually. And so making it a team sport and making it very interactive with everyone on the team and being able to do that, soccer has definitely helped me.
Oh, that's really cool. Okay, so you kind of brought the team attributes to the swimming pool when you were part of different swim teams growing up. That's cool. So then, why, in the end, if you enjoyed that so much, why did you choose swimming?
Swimming, I was definitely always a little bit better at swimming. My parents always let me know just a little bit too. They're like, soccer is great and it's so much fun. I really feel like swimming is great too, though. And I've always done swimming as well. Swimming was always my first one, and I stuck with it for so long, even though the other sports were intermittent within it. And so swimming has always been really great for me and has been consistent, and I've always enjoyed it.
Oh, very cool. Do you still play soccer for fun or not too much?
Occasionally, whenever
Okay.
someone asks me, I'm like, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll definitely
All right.
kick the
Well,
ball
we'll have
around
to
with
get you
them.
out to the training field soon then, Brianna. Well, very cool. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that. Allie, why don't you let us know why you chose your sport, and did you play any other sports growing up?
Yeah, growing up, I kind of played a little bit of everything. My mom was big into coaching, so she coached me in basketball, field hockey. I actually played softball for a long time, which I feel like you don't see a lot of lacrosse players that played softball as a pitcher. And yeah, and these things, I guess basketball and field hockey, they really just helped me with lacrosse, like with seeing the field, getting that IQ. Basketball definitely helps with your footwork and just remembering, okay, well, if you mess up, you got to get down to the other side of the court, which is kind of the same thing with lacrosse. And I think I really liked that. I liked that challenge where sometimes softball, it's like, oh, you strike out and you might not get another chance to redeem yourself for a whole inning or two. So I really just liked that quick turnaround. And there was just so many amazing opportunities with lacrosse. And a lot of my friends in my town played, my brother played. I definitely grew up in a lacrosse town, so it made it a lot of fun.
That's awesome. That is kind of neat that you don't take it for granted that if you make a mistake, you can just like try to go win the ball back. Whereas softball, you'd have to wait for the next inning. So that's really kind of neat that you figured that out. And isn't it so cool how so much of our life kind of bleeds into our sport? Like you were saying that your relationship with your brother and people in your town was impacted, and that must have been so good for you as a young girl, and gave you so much like confidence and sense of belonging. That's really great. Ava, why don't you share why you chose your sport? I do know it's very popular in the Netherlands. So,
Yeah.
but let us know why you chose it and what were some of the other options. I do know some of the players on the Dutch national team now. Danielle van de Donk, you might know her.
Oh, yep.
Viv
That's
Miedema,
awesome.
Superstar Miedema. She's my former teammate.
Oh, no way. At Arsenal?
Yes.
That's awesome. So I actually only played one sport my entire life, which was field hockey. My dad played field hockey for as long as he can remember as a child. And then I have an older sister who started playing before me. So I basically was like brought into a field hockey family with like my cousins playing field hockey. My grandma used to play field hockey. So I kind of really had no choice to just like follow all of them. So I've been playing field hockey since 5 years old and loved it ever since. I love being part of a team. And it gave me so many great opportunities. So I've been field hockey all the way.
That's great though, because a lot of people, Ava, don't love the feeling when they're a kid to just commit to one thing, because maybe they get burned out or they like spending time with other groups of friends and things like that. So that's really admirable and amazing that you've preserved your like passion for the game, even though it was like so heavy in your family. It was the only thing that you played. So I really love that. And you smile so big when you talk about field hockey and your family and being in the blood. So very, very cool. Okay, and Jill, why did you choose throwing heavy objects And did you play any other sports?
Yeah, so obviously throwing wasn't what I grew up with. I don't really think anybody ever says like, oh yeah, throwing's huge, especially track and field is just always something you kind of get into in high school. And that's exactly what happened to me. I didn't start till ninth grade. So I grew up playing every sport. I have an older brother, so I was always very competitive and wanted to beat him in whatever he was doing. So he played baseball. I wanted to play softball. We'd go out on the tennis courts and play, but I went through a big stint with Taekwondo. That was a big one for me. Played softball. Soccer was a big one in high school for me. But at the end of the day, I chose track just because my trajectory with that was a lot higher and there were more opportunities collegiately for me. But yeah, throwing's a lot of fun, super competitive. And like Brianna was saying earlier, the individual sports are so different. It's just a totally different type of mentality and instant like kind of gratification, seeing those numbers increase has been really fun for me. But yeah, track, not from the start, but definitely got into it later in high school.
I can see that. I'm glad that you didn't have like an answer of like that you were like throwing, I don't know, lamps and what are some other small household
Yeah, doing some landscaping out back, throwing stones
exactly.
around.
Anyways, but yeah, that's well, we are very glad that you chose throwing heavy objects, at least here at Carolina, and I'm sure that your family is happy that you did not do that any earlier. Okay, ladies, so tell me, because it's been a little bit of a long time since I was an athlete here, and so maybe things have changed a little bit, but I think that, you know, some common threads kind of go throughout all the generations of Tar Heels. But tell me right now, what's the best thing of being specifically a female athlete here at the University of North Carolina? Allie, why don't you start us off?
I think besides the fact of being surrounded by the best lacrosse players in the nation, the best coaches at an incredible academic school with amazing facilities, I think my favorite thing is just being a part of the Chapel Hill community and being part of this amazing town that everything is Carolina blue. There's so much support from the community and you make so many connections with families, and you would just be walking around Franklin Street with a lacrosse sweatshirt on and people say, oh, go Heels, good luck this season, you guys got it, can't wait to watch you play. So just being able to make those connections and being a part of this community that's so much bigger than yourself is truly a special thing.
That's awesome. I'm glad that you feel like such a sense of family here. That's very cool. And I will say it's not just on Franklin Street that you hear people say go Heels if you see something. I mean, I've been in London and, you know, have had on some Carolina blue, and I've heard it on the streets. So yeah, the Tar Heels have a lot of love for each other no matter where they are. Jill, what do you love about being a female athlete here? And this could be a nice segue for you to go into a little bit about what you're doing with Uncut, and has being an athlete here helped you with something like that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. The Carolina family, like you said, spans a lot wider than Chapel Hill. And like we go into airports and our team's wearing obviously our gear and everyone's like, go Heels, how'd the meet go? Like asking what sport we play, that kind of stuff. But no, it's been awesome. And I love the sense of family of not just like our team, but the entire athletic department. Like, what do we have? Almost 800 student athletes, but I feel like we're actually like very close knit and like you're able to talk to anybody around here. And then also the alumni network is awesome. Reaching out to people like you, Heather, who are older but have graduated a while ago, but still feel like you're pretty close to home. But yeah, no, I also love how much this athletic department embodies like who we are, not just as athletes, but like as people. Corey, Cricket, they work for us to have those opportunities after we graduate and after our time is ended. That's something that I really value, that they kind of take pride in, as well as is developing the person, not just the athlete. And that's kind of like what Allie and I have tried to do at Uncut, is kind of like project those stories of people who, like Ava, who may have come here from international outside the US, but have came here for those opportunities and then have found so much more. So I just love everything that the athletic department does for us and in our sport, but also outside of our sport.
Thanks for sharing that. That's so, that makes me proud that we've exceeded your expectations. And Ava, would you agree that your experience here, I mean, what a big shift coming from Europe. And I mean, I can't even imagine like, you know, going to classes, and I assume English is your second language.
Yep.
All that kind of comes with a challenge and, you know, such a culture shift. So how have you found being an athlete here, and tell me kind of what struck you when you first came here as a freshman?
Well, like Ali and Jill both said before, I think the one thing that made it very easy for me to come from Europe into America is having such a wonderful team where all the girls support you, challenge you, and inspire you. We're very lucky to have Karen Shelton as my head coach, who has been here, I guess, for 40 years now, and pushes us to be not only successful like on the field, but also outside the field, as well as just like the entire like athletic community. We're such a family. We all support each other. I love going to the lacrosse games or swimming meets or whatever sport. Like I'm pretty sure that every other sport to see one of the teams play. So it really does feel like a tight knit community, especially like being very far away from home and being homesick sometimes. It's really nice to have so many new people that make you feel at home in a different place.
That's excellent. I'm so happy that you felt at home right away, or if not right away, you got to a place where you can consider this home. So we are lucky to have you on this side of the pond, Ava. And Brianna, do you have anything to add? What's your favorite part about being a female athlete here?
I'm gonna add almost the same thing, this camaraderie. I feel supported every single place that I go. And even it just being my first year here, every time I walk around campus, every professor, every staff member, I feel so supported, especially here. And I know that's very specific to here. Like, it is truly amazing to be on this campus and to be around every single person here.
Well, that's great that you feel that way, especially right now as we are, kind of getting through this very interesting and difficult and challenging time of our country, with different issues, social issues, pandemic issues. So it makes me so happy and proud to hear that you guys have just found an incredible support system, and not just from the school, but the athletic department and the town of Chapel Hill. Because I think that you can't do it alone. It really kind of does take a community effort to launch you into your future self. So that is so wonderful to hear that you guys have felt like that. All right, so let's talk about when you guys are little girls. Did you feel like you had other females to look up to, female athletes, and who were some of your like superstar idols? Jill, you don't have to say me just because I'm sitting here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the US soccer team is one of those, especially for young female athletes. I don't know, Ava, I don't know if the Netherlands, they have a great soccer team as well, but we had some awesome role models growing up with not only Heather, but Abby Wambach was an upstate New York gal, so she was always very relevant in our newspapers. But yeah, I think the US soccer team was always one that we would watch. I remember being little at like little soccer games and soccer tournaments on the weekends. I think when the World Cup was playing, we'd all be out there like watching the TVs and stuff. But also another big one for me, especially, I've come from a big tennis family. My dad always wanted to play doubles growing up, but he got me really into Serena Williams, and I always loved watching her and just how strong she is, and knowing that like women can be strong like that and can be powerful and use their voice in ways that we don't really see outside of sport. And so she was a big one for me that I looked up to a lot.
Very cool. Thanks for sharing that. Ava, why don't you tell us a little bit about women that you looked up to? I mean, you already spoke about your grandma being a pretty baller player, so maybe it was her, but was it more family members, or was it more like other professional athletes that you really looked?
Obviously, our field hockey national team in Holland is pretty successful. They've been a few times Olympic gold medalist winners, world champions. So like as a child, I obviously like look up to that because they're close for me. Like I can watch the games live. So I think those girls were definitely like for me like a huge inspiration to watch them be so successful in the field. And I can relate to them because it's my sport. So it's almost like a little dream to like one day like play in the orange shirt, because we wear orange for a national uniform.
Yes,
so yeah, those are my
yes.
Everything is orange.
Our wardrobe is probably blue and orange.
I know. So yeah, no, definitely those women were very inspirational for me.
Well, that's very cool. Brianna, why don't you tell us about your female idols that you looked up to, specifically being a Black woman in swimming. Did you have many women that you looked up to, and how do you want to serve as sort of an inspiration for younger swimmers coming through?
Well, I remember when I was growing up, I remember looking a lot specifically for Black swimmers, Black female swimmers. And I remember the very first one that I looked up to so heavily was Maritza. She was the first Black woman to medal at the Olympics in swimming. And I remember looking up to her so much when I was younger. And then eventually Leah Neal and Simone Manuel. And I remember it was so important to me to see them. And I'm so glad that we are now getting more Black female athletes all over the place. And so I hope to always be an inspiration to anyone who's looking to swim or just looking to be an athlete, and know that they can do it, and that it's always very exciting to reach for your goals and strive for them and to see people like you. So I hope that I am that to anyone.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting because do you want to forever be sort of a beacon, or do you hope that one day, it is almost common to see so many Black women and men at the Olympics medaling? How do you see the future for African Americans in swimming?
I see the future as very bright. I think already I see so many more people, so many more Black people in swimming. And it's so exciting to see because historically it has been such a scary thing for us. And that's the very first reason that I began swimming, actually. My parents were very adamant about making sure that I didn't drown. And so that's how my brother and I got into this sport. And I think that it's such a life-saving sport. And therefore, I think many people will continue to become a part of the sport, especially Black people. So I'm very excited.
That's excellent. Well, thank you for sharing that. And Allie, maybe in a way similar, did you really have too many female lacrosse idols or icons to look up to, or is that somewhat of a niche sport that maybe you didn't see as much?
Yeah, I was looking back and I remember I have a very vivid memory of, I think I was in 7th grade when UNC played in the Final Four at Villanova, and I went to that Final Four game with all my friends, and I was the only one from the start. I was like, Carolina blue, that's the prettiest color ever. I want to root for them. And then in the championship game, it went to like 5 overtimes, and it was just the most amazing thing I've ever seen. And since that day, and even before that, I was like, that's the team that I want to play for. I want to have this experience of a sold out stadium, all these people cheering for these amazing, talented women. Like, I want to be a part of that. Like, that was just the coolest thing ever. And I guess like a specific person when I was little, and I guess this would go against UNC's motto because their rival is Maryland, but growing up watching Taylor Cummings, she just dominated the draw, and she was in the middle of the field, and she was so powerful and good in every single way, and I do the draw. So growing up, I've always watched her, and I was like, I want to be like that one day, but not in red, in Carolina blue.
Heck yeah. You said, okay, I want to be like you, but actually I want to be on the side that beats your school. So I love that.
Wait, Heather, I have to ask, who was your model growing up? Who's your role model?
Well, thanks for asking, Jill. Well, you can probably see behind me. So my shrine to myself, no, just kidding. I wore number 9 on the U.S. national team, which was very meaningful to me because my idol was Mia Hamm growing up, and she wore that number for a long time before I joined the team. So what an incredible honor that was. And I'm going to be aging myself a little bit, but I went similarly, like Allie, I went to the 99 World Cup, and just seeing the athletes, seeing the women on the national team down on the field, like I can clearly remember that whole day. Like I remember the car ride, I remember walking into the stadium, I remember seeing warm up. Mia Hamm scored that day. Like I was actually like somewhat emotional as a little 12-year-old kid in the stands, because I was so moved and I was so inspired, and I just wanted to do that. And as you guys said, like you really need to see it in order to be it. you kind of have this untapped thing that's maybe brewing in you, but without seeing these people kind of come before, sometimes it's hard to get there mentally. And it's hard to actually think that, okay, swimming could be a profession, or I could go to the Olympics for field hockey. And that's why it's so critical what you guys are doing without even putting too much effort into it. You guys are being wonderful role models. So never take that for granted, because people are watching, and you never know who will say, years down the line that it was because of watching you that they, achieved something or dreamed a little bit bigger than they would before. So, but thanks for asking, Jill. Yeah, Mia Hamm was definitely my idol. And now she's sort of my friend, which is kind of weird. A lot of us feel that way with Mia, because she was like this idol for us. And she's such a wonderful, warm, and incredible person. So what a honor to be able to be kind of like weaved in throughout her life and career. So, okay, enough about sports specifically, because, some of us might be professional and go to the Olympics and play in different, World Cups and leagues and things like that, but maybe not, or maybe, we're going to have long careers after our sport. So why don't you tell me a little bit about the things and really try to think specifically skills or attributes that have been amplified due to you guys playing your sport. And what do you think, imagining yourself 15 years from now, what do you think you will kind of take with you from your days be here at Carolina playing your sport that can sort of serve you for the rest of your life? Brianna, why don't you open us up with what swimming has kind of gave you and enabled you to do?
I will say, first of all, swimming has taught me perseverance. Every single day that I hop in the pool, I'm looking to make myself better. And swimming is very numerical. You either beat your time or you don't. And so every day it's very much push as hard as you can so that when you hop in that pool, you can do that. And so it's taught me perseverance no matter what the time is, to always make sure that I'm doing my best and preparing.
That's awesome. Well, I have a feeling that, I hope you swim for a long, long time, but maybe after, you're going to be involved in some very data-driven occupation that has clear metrics. What a success is and what just under that would be. So I'm so happy to hear that that's what you feel like swimming has given you. Jill, what about you?
Yeah, no, similar to Brianna, like we both do individual sports that are very quantifiable, I guess you could say, very numbers driven, and every day you can kind of see that increase. But something that like I've learned, especially in the past couple of years, is you get to college and you may have been that big fish in the small pond in high school, and you get to college and then you're surrounded by, like Ali said, the best girls that you could be surrounded by. The competitive edge here is incredible, and that's something that we actually should be so grateful for. I think that's something we take for granted. We always say, oh wow, I may not be doing this, but like at least I'm surrounded by some of the best people to better my skills. But something that I've learned a lot, especially in the past couple of years, is to kind of run your race. I know I'm not a runner, but like kind of focus on you and be present in what you're doing, because if you compete to your ability and to your highest potential, it doesn't matter what anybody else is doing. So focus on your race and just focus on you, because you shouldn't compare yourself to anybody else.
I love that. That's so well said. And I think when you get distracted, you're not your best self, because you're wasting energy comparing, or even if sometimes you are better than somebody else, you're still, chipping away at what your focus should be. And sometimes you're maybe envious of somebody else for something, but that's actually detracting some energy too. So I love that you guys you really stay super focused on what you're doing. And I'm sure, Brianna, if you're like losing your focus in the pool and concerning yourself with how somebody else is doing, you're probably going to be not swimming your best meet either. So that's fabulous. Thank you, Jill, for sharing that. Ali, what about you? What skills or things that you've gained do you think that you'll take with you like all through life?
I think the biggest thing for me was learning just the importance of maintaining a positive attitude, whether it be through fighting through a tough injury or a hard loss or any type of hardship. Being able to turn it around and seeing the positives and seeing just to be grateful for what you do have and things like that, that really has gotten me through things and has made me a better teammate. Now, like that's always the advice I give. If someone's having a bad day, snap out of it. It's okay to have a bad day for a minute, but snap out of it. Be grateful that you're here playing on the best team in the country with the best girls, the best teammates, the best coaches, and just being able to see that positive light, I feel like can completely change your mindset around and leave you so much better for everything besides lacrosse. I feel like that's just something that's going to stick with me for a while. And when work comes around, and you might not want to go to work that day, but hey, thank God I have a job, you know, things like that.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That yeah, being grateful and it's an exercise. I think that, you know, you have to train yourself to almost be grateful and be intentional about your gratefulness. And although I'm sure that there's been so many times this last, 10 months that you guys have all been super frustrated with things around the pandemic. I mean, I guess we can all, in a way, be grateful that we're in this wonderful community together, because I'm sure that this would be a whole lot more lonely and more difficult and more isolating if we weren't able to like be there for our teammates and our teammates be there for us and still have this incredible thing to look forward to every day and skill to sort of polish. So I am grateful for you guys for reminding me of that. And Allie, thank you so much. And Ava, I hope that you stay in America forever because you make our nation better. But if you ever do decide to go back to the Netherlands, what do you think you're packing in that bag, metaphorically?
I think there is definitely two things that I will definitely always bring with me. The first one is my coach would always say before every game, you guys are strong, powerful, beautiful women. And I think that was always something that reminded us to like go into a game confident and be confident in the preparation that you have and know that what you've been.
Every game?
Yeah, a lot of the time she says strong, powerful, beautiful women.
Oh my God, amazing.
Yeah. So
Karen and I were running on the treadmill the other day.
That does not surprise me.
Great fitness, and you'll have to give her a hard time because I beat her.
Oh well,
and
100%
tell
will.
me I was strong, beautiful, confident before it. I think she was trying to.
But yeah, no, that definitely like helped me realize that we can trust our preparation and we can basically like achieve whatever we want to achieve, just put in the work. And then the other thing is, and this is a little bit besides the actual sport, is obviously coming from Europe, coming here as an 18-year-old kid, basically, not knowing any single person here. My parents didn't drop me off, and I also have never been to America before actually stepping foot in the United States. So I basically came like fully blinded to UNC and had to like start basically fully over, which was very challenging at first, and I was very homesick. But I think we can, like, I realized that you can really do much more than you think, and you have to just keep pushing yourself, and you can adapt easily. So I think you'll grow when you're more uncomfortable than instead of like being just in comfortable places.
Wow, that's really cool. Yeah, I can't imagine. I give you so much credit for doing that. I went over to play soccer in England, but not until my 30s. And even I mean, there's not too many differences between England and the US in certain ways. And I was older than you, and I still experience some homesickness. It's just such like a exposing feeling to be put into a foreign land. So that's amazing that you were able to kind of draw that from this experience. So good for you. Well, you guys have given so much wonderful insight. I guess just a few more questions for you guys. What advice would you give to your 10-year-old self? Would it be something, it could be something that you would want to do a little bit different, or it could be something that you're saying like, keep on this track. Jill, why don't you start us off?
Yeah, I think when I was 10 years old, I was still playing basketball, which I remember I was never really the best, but I was just very tall and very large, so they all just put me out there. And I remember being like super insecure that like I wasn't as good of a ball handler as the other girls, and like I couldn't shoot as well. And so I actually quit, but my dad was like,
and you just like got the Gatorade jug and you just threw it. That's amazing.
yeah, right. Yeah, threw it across the court. Yeah. No, but I remember telling my dad, I'm like, Dad, I really don't like this because like like girls can shoot better than me. Like I don't like this. And he's like, Joe, like stick with it. Like you're tall, like you're really athletic, like it'll come, like be patient, be patient. I remember just being so frustrated. I was like, drop it if I'm not good at it. So like that was my whole mentality. And I wish maybe not just basketball, who knows where basketball could have taken me, but I wish I had just kind of been a little bit more patient and not so quick to drop things because who knows what could happen. So I think any little girl struggling or thinking that they're not as good as others right now, just stay with it, stay the course, and be patient with your advancement and your skill set.
That's wonderful. Cool. Allie, what about you?
I would say just to stay true to yourself, and that's truly the only way you're going to gain that confidence. If you believe in yourself and believe in what you're doing and just attack it with full force and no doubt, like I think that is just gonna, I wish I did that a little bit more. My confidence definitely emerged through college, but I struggled with that for a while, and trying to figure out myself, and I was always doubting myself, like, why isn't this happening for me, or what am I doing wrong? It's like, no, just take a step back and believe in yourself and believe in what you're doing, and in the end, if you keep doing that, it'll happen.
That's really cool. Yeah, I think for young women, especially like, you know, ages 10 to 14, like they're changing so much. There's just so much going on in their social circles and in their sports circles and school. So I really think that age is actually such an impactful age, because your self-belief and self-identity is still kind of coming along. So I know when I'm working with young athletes, I like working with girls that age because sometimes it's just one word that you can say to somebody or pulling one girl over, that can actually change their life and change like the trajectory of maybe their sport and where that leads to. So that's really cool that you recognize that, and that you would tell yourself to, you know, be brave, be confident. But we're glad, Allie, that you got there in the end. And let me tell you this, it's not over yet. There's going to be many seasons of life where doubt slips in again. So be really proud of where you've come from, but remember that it's not over yet, and to keep looking for ways to add in layers of confidence in your life. Brianna, how about you?
To my 10-year-old self, I think I would say to be patient but never content. And I think I'd tell myself that every day that you're working as hard as you can, that's enough. And
Yeah.
to remind myself that working hard every day is good. Like that is something that is admirable. Making sure that you're trying to be the best that you can be is a good day.
That's so awesome and so wise, and gosh, so deep. That's just making me think about some things. Because it is, I mean, it is such a fine line. We're so competitive and we're so driven. And we just want to keep pushing. And that's what makes us great. And that's what makes us world changers. But at sometimes you have to, you know, give yourself a pat on the back, be gentle with yourself and saying like, you're doing a good job. Like, keep it up.
Definitely.
And never kind of forget the amazing things that you're doing. We can always like improve, but I think sometimes when we push on and churn on, and we forget, that's where we sort of can get frustrated. So I love that. I wish that you would tell my 10-year-old self that as well. And Ava, how about you? Finish us up with this one.
I would say to my 10-year-old self, I think don't compare yourself to anyone but yourself and enjoy the process. A lot of the times I would just focus so much on how others were doing or how other players are better than I was and I'm never going to make it, or just like in general, like being, I guess, like insecure about my own abilities. And at the end of the day, I think the best you can do is just focus on working as hard as you can and be happy with the progress you're making and enjoying it as well. Like, don't take it all too seriously, or especially if you're just 10 years old. Like, enjoy it. Like, you have so much time to like be more serious. So definitely just like have fun, and it will all come like later on.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah, I think that we do tend to take things very seriously, and I think that it's probably what's gotten us to this level. But sometimes we can even keep ourselves in check a little bit, and just make sure that we're extracting all the joy that comes from our sport, because that will actually make us better. So that's very cool. All right, girls. So why don't we end with you guys saying one word that describes what it means to be a female athlete. I'll have a think about that. And I want to hear some fire when you say it. All right, Allie, start us off. One word.
Powerful.
Love it. Jill?
Invaluable.
Ava?
I was going to say empowering.
Beautiful. And Brianna?
Determined.
Incredible, ladies. Well, I loved being here with you guys today. That was so special. I learned a lot about you guys, but you made me think about some things that I can kind of bring to my life and to my team coming up. So I think it's times like these that it's just good to be thoughtful and intentional and make sure that we're being grateful too on our journey. So thank you guys for being here. And I know that you guys are so appreciative of all the opportunities that you got at UNC. So I'll use this opportunity to talk a little bit about the Forever Tar Heels initiative, which through the Rams Club are trying to get more opportunities, more support for the female athletes here at UNC. So I know that, you know, we've had such incredible, you know, coaches and seminars and things like that come our way. But the Forever Tar Heels initiative will just allow even more opportunities. So all the heels coming through will leave this place a much stronger women than they came in. So thank you guys for that. And good luck in your seasons. Good luck with all your ambitions that you'll want to accomplish this year in the pool or on the field, or, you know, throwing heavy objects, Jill. And I'm sure it'll keep an eye out for all of you guys and seeing how you're doing. So thank you all for being with us and for teaching us something.
Thank you, Heather.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.